Okay, so last week we talked about comparing and contrasting, and this week we're going to talk about theme. Have you heard of theme before? What do you have? Okay, what do you know about theme?
Settings where the story takes place.
Well, that's the setting. The setting's where the story takes place. You might have theme and main idea. A lot of people get those mixed up because they're kind of similar, but they're completely different. Like in our minds, we might think, oh, they're the same, but they're not. So the theme, well, first we'll start with the main idea. Main idea is what the story is about, right? But the theme is like the message behind the story. As an example, are you familiar with the tortoise and the hare? So you know that the hare was like, oh, I'm faster than you. I'm going to beat you in this race. And the tortoise was like, okay, whatever. And the hare takes off and is so far ahead of the tortoise. The tortoise is so far behind because it's so slow. But the hare decided to take a rest. And during that rest, while he was sleeping, the tortoise actually went past him and then beat him. So, like, the overall message or the overall theme of that story is, like, slow and steady wins the race. Like, you can't think you're a big hot shot,
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to learn about theme then. So we're just looking at the underlying message. So to start our lesson, I want to refer us back to the copycat fish. We read this last week. What do you remember about this story?
This little fish followed Rainbow Fish.
Yes, so Tug, he was like copycatting Rainbow Fish, and Rainbow Fish was upset. But then when they came, I think they were doing an assignment where they had to build seashells or build a...
Right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that part.
There.
And that part.
There.
What was it? Oh, they wanted to sort the clamshells so that the short ones were in the front and the tall ones were in the back, and that was Tug's idea. Rainbow Fish said, hey, that's a great idea. So, and then, Rainbow Fish did his twirl, and then Tug did his twirl, and everybody loved his twirl. But Tug was so caught up in following Rainbow Fish that...
Rainbow Fish followed him.
Yeah, that now Rainbow Fish is like, oh, I like your ideas. Like, it's okay, to be your own person. So the underlying message for that story is to be your own person. So we're going to use those graphic organizers. We're going to use these graphic organizers, thank you, Elena, to talk about the theme and how we get to the theme. So with this one, let's see here. So when we're thinking about theme, we want to get our thoughts all together, and that just helps us differ theme from the main idea. That way we're not thinking of the main idea when we're focusing on the theme. So with the copycat fish, the characters in the story, we can say were Rainbow Fish and Tug, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what were they doing in the story?
Copycatting each other.
Yeah, Tug was copycatting Rainbow Fish. And then what challenges did the characters face in the story? So the challenge that Rainbow Fish faced was that he was upset with Tug because Tug was copycatting him, but at the same time Tug was upset with Rainbow Fish because Rainbow Fish was being mean to Tug too. So RF didn't like, trying to make it short, Tug following him, and Tug didn't like Rainbow Fish's, you can say his attitude almost.
Yeah.
Okay. So then when we flip over to this side, what did the characters learn at the end of the story? Well, they learned that it's important to do things
your own way.
Your own way. Do things your own way. So when we think about the theme, what is the underlying message of the copycat fish? We might say the underlying message is to be your own person.
To be your own person.
And do things that you like to do. To be your own person. So that's how we kind of determine the theme, is we think about who were the characters in the story, what were the characters in the story doing, what challenges did characters face in the story, what did the characters learn at the end of the story, and then what is the theme. Okay, so now that we've got that kind of figured out, we are going to, let's see. We are going to read Hidden Treasures. Okay, so we're done with the copycat fish. So we're going to move to Hidden Treasures, and we're going to work through this together to kind of figure out what the theme is of this one. All right.
Don't forget, said Miss Cuddle, tomorrow is show and tell. I want each of you to bring something that you treasure. Treasure? Worried Rusty. You mean like gold coins? Not necessarily, explained Miss Cuddle. A treasure can be anything at all. It just has to mean something special to you. I already know what I'm going to share, shouted Rainbow Fish.
The next morning, the school cave bubbled with excitement. Then, just as they were about to begin, a loud noise rumbled outside. I'll be right back, said Miss Cuddle as she rushed out to investigate. I expect all of you to behave while I'm away.
Rainbow Fish couldn't wait. Look at what I brought, my entire shell collection. Each one is a special and reminds me of a different friend.
But that's a million things, objected Puffer. Not one special thing. Now my pebble is extraordinary. Look how smooth it is. It probably crashed in the waves for 1 billion years.
Oh, Puffer, there you go exaggerating again, cried Angel as she unfurled her map. This has been in my family for ages. My great-grandfather discovered it in the captain's room of a sunken ship. Every place I'd call home is on this map.
My compass came from an old ship too, said Rusty. Whenever I worry that I'm lost, it always shows me the way home. My trusty compass hasn't failed me yet. Isn't your trusty compass a bit rusty, old Rusty? Asked Rosie. Now my treasure is nice and shiny.
I used to play with this when I was little. When Pearl was born, the very first thing I said was she was pretty as my pink pearl. So we named her Pearl. The Pearl showed the class everyone where she seaweeded doll. Rosie made her for me and slept with her every night. I brought something that you all want to sleep with too, said Tug. It always keeps all my bad dreams.
It's a real shark's tooth, said Tug. Remember when Rainbow Fish rescued me from the shark? But this tooth isn't from that shark, is it? Did we skip a page? No, we didn't. Okay. But this tooth isn't from that shark, is it? Asked Little Blue. You just found some old shark's fallen out tooth, right? So that shouldn't count. Anyway, sharks lose teeth all the time, added Puffer. They have zillions of teeth, so that's not so special.
It doesn't have to be from that same shark to be special, exclaimed Dinah. Thanks, Dinah, said Tug. What did you bring? I brought an
Algae.
Algae I grew it myself. It glows just like my lightning streak. It's
phosphorescent.
Phosphorescent.
That's a little big word. You mean slimy, said Spike. Check out my treasure. It's my lucky sand dollar.
I saw you find that on your way to school. How special could that be? Asked Rainbow Fish. What about you, Little Blue? You're the last one. What'd you bring? My scale, announced Little Blue. The one you gave me, Rainbow Fish? Rainbow Fish smiled.
Should that count? Asked Spike. That's like bringing in your fin for sharing, added Rosie. Everyone began arguing about what could count and what couldn't. Quiet, interrupted Rusty. Do you want us to get into trouble?
I don't think we're supposed to be fighting about what counts as special to somebody else, added Tug. Rainbow Fish agreed. That's right. I felt really bad when no one liked my shells. Me too, echoed one of the fish after another. Me too. I think we should start again, Dinah snuggled suggested.
Truce. Just as they agreed to the truce, Miss Cuddle jetted back into the cave, apologizing for her absence. The noise was nothing but a large ship passing on the water surface. Now, let's get started, she said. And remember, just as each of you is special, so are the things you brought. We know, they laughed. What's so funny? Asked Miss Cuddle.
Oh, nothing, said Rainbow Fish, smiling at the others as they began to spread out their treasures.
Okay, so let's go through these questions. Do you want to write the answers? No? Okay, we'll do my sloppy handwriting. So who were the characters in the story? Maybe instead of listing all of them, we could just say Miss Cuddle's class.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of fish. Miss Cuddle's class.
Rainbow Fish.
Tug. Rusty. Pearl. Lots. So what were the characters in the story doing?
Bringing show and tell things.
Yeah, they were sharing. They were sharing their show and tell items. Okay. What challenges did characters face in the story? So everyone was like picking apart what they brought, saying, that's not special, that's not special.
Mm-hmm.
So we could say everyone was picking apart special items. Okay, so what did the characters learn at the end of the story? What was something... Rainbow Fish said something, didn't he? Or maybe Tug said something.
Where'd I go? They don't have to be mean to other people's special things.
Yes. I think Miss Cuddle said just... Are you talking about how Miss Cuddle had said just as each of you is special, so are your items that you bring? So the characters learned to, like you said, to not be mean to each other. Not to be mean. Because every item is different. Okay, so then the overall theme of the story, like what was something that we learned from this?
Don't be mean to other people's things.
Yeah, because we might treasure one thing and you might treasure something else. Like I might treasure my black marker because I really, really like this marker. But you might like that green one because it reminds you of hay. And I like this one because it reminds me of my black cat at home. You see, like we each treasure different things. So the overall theme is we all treasure something. And just because it might not be special to you doesn't mean it isn't special to me.
Whoa.
Something. So we could say ... be nice. There we go. Okay. So, you want any rice?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we will read the last one. And let's see. So, this is the same as this.
Just this is smaller.
Yep. So it doesn't matter which one that you want to do. But first let's just read. Oh, your grandma's here.
Hey.
Okay. So first we'll read this.
My sisters are dating.
Oh, yes! We love rainbow fish. All right, so we are reading Rainbow Fish and the Big Blue Whale.
A long way out in the deep blue sea, Rainbow Fish and his friends swam happily through the reef. Each of them had a glittering silver scale except for one little striped fish, but he belonged in the group anyway.
You can see they all have their scales except for Tug.
Because he was green.
When the fish were hungry, they ate tiny krill. There seemed to be endless supplies of the delicious shrimp. Rainbow Fish only needed to glide gently through the water with his mouth open to catch as many as he wanted. It was a wonderful life.
One day, a gentle old whale swam by the reef and decided to stay. He liked the spot since he ate the krill too. That we were so plentiful there, and he enjoyed being around the glittering fish often as he drifted along, watching them for hours, admiring their beautiful silvery scales.
Before long, the fish with the jagged fins noticed the whale watching them. "Why is he looking at us like that?" he asked to the others. He was in a particularly bad mood that day. "See how he's staring at us?" he went on irritably. "Who knows what he's thinking?"
After that, all the fish grew more and more suspicious of the whale. "Look at that giant mouth," said one. "Soon krill will all be gone." Rainbow Fish began to worry. Until now, the fish had always been able to eat their fill. What if the whale did eat up all the krill? And why did he keep staring at them? Was he planning to eat them too?
One day the whale swam quite near the school of glittering fish. Panicked, the fish with the jagged fins sounded the alarm. "Look out!" he called. "The wicked whale is after us!" When the whale heard that, he was hurt at first, but soon he grew very angry. "I'll show them," he thought. "I'll teach them a lesson." So the great blue whale shot into the middle of the school and lashed out with his gigantic tail, sweeping the sparkling fish in all directions. The terrified fish fled racing towards a crack in the reef for safety. But the whale didn't leave them alone. He followed Rainbow Fish and his friends all the way back to their cave. The blue whale swam back and forth, casting sinister glances at the little fish. They were trapped. "I told you that whale was dangerous," whispered the fish with the jagged fins. "We have to watch out for him." After a while, the whale calmed down. He made one last pass, then disappeared behind the reef. Nervously, but driven by hunger, the fish
cautiously left her cave and swam off to search for food. But the battle with the whale had left its mark. All the girl had been driven off. "This is silly," declared Rainbow Fish. "Before we played happily in the sea. Now we hide in territory in our cave. Before there was always enough food for everyone. Now we have nothing. We must take peace with the whale."
The other fish were all too afraid to approach the whale. It was up to Rainbow Fish. The whale stared at Rainbow Fish suspiciously. "Please, let's talk," said Rainbow Fish. "This fight was all a big mistake. It drove off the krill, and now we're all hungry."
The two talked for a long time. The whale told Rainbow Fish how to hurt and angry their hostile words made him. "I never meant to harm you," said the whale. "I just scare you a little." Rainbow Fish was ashamed. "I'm sorry," he said. "But when we saw you watching us all the time, we were afraid you might eat us." The whale looked surprised. "I watched you only because your shining scales were so pretty," he said. They both laughed. "Come on now," said the whale. "Let's find new hunting grounds."
So Rainbow Fish and his friends, protected by their new friend, the big blue whale, swam off together in search of a new home, rich with krill. And before long, none of them could remember what the terrible fight had been about. Okay, so then I'll have you go through and answer those questions on your own. But I'm here to help you if you have any questions.
Whale was one of the characters. And then Rainbow Fish friends.
Yeah, Rainbow Fish and his friends. You could say that.
Okay. And then
And remember, the theme is like the hidden message in the story. It's not explicitly said in the story, so we can't refer back into the story to read it, but it's something that we learned from the book. All right, what do we have? So, who were the characters in the story?
Whale, Rainbow Fish, and friends.
I would agree with that one. What were the characters in the story doing?
Finding food to eat.
I would agree with that as well. What challenges did characters face in the story?
The whale stole all the food, so they had nothing to eat.
Yeah, that's true. What did the characters learn at the end of the story?
To share their territory with others.
Nice. And then what is the theme?
To share with others.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You could also say, too, because remember how the fish with the spiked fins, he was like, this guy is staring at us. What is going on? And here I come to find out it was because the scales were so pretty. So maybe we could say, too, like, you can't judge people without actually talking to them to get to know them,
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. All right. So our last one that I will have you do entirely on your own, kind of similar like how you did this one. So you're going to read the story Mouse in the House, and I have to get out of our video. Okay, now we're back. Okay, so this is Mouse in the House. So I'll have you read this text, and we'll get the computer closer so that way you can scroll through it. So what you'll do is you'll read the story, and then the same thing, you'll fill out the graphic organizer. And then we've got one more little activity to do.
Oh.
And yeah, if you just, you can arrow down.
A family works together to get a mouse out of the house.
I'm gonna picture.
There was a mouse in the house. Grandma saw it first. Mouse, she screamed, jumping up on the sofa. The cushions fell off on the floor. Where? Asked Pa, climbing up the window. He pulled the curtains down. There, shouted Mom, leaping on the table. Plates fell with a crash. Catch him, said
We'll say Mittens.
Mittens.
Oh, we'll call him Mitt.
Mitt.
Yeah.
To the cat. The cat looked at the mouse and fled under the bed. Mouse, screamed Mitt, running behind the cat.
Yeah, I'm not for sure how to pronounce that.
I will chase it out, said Ma bravely. She took out the broom and poked here and there. Mouse, shouted Pa, behind you. Ma looked at the mouse that flew under the bed. Spider. I know what to do, shouted Grandma, jumping up and down from the sofa. She rolled up a newspaper and poked here and there. Mouse, yelled Pa, climbing up the window even higher. To your left, yelled Grandma, looked at the mouse and flew under the bed. Oh no, said Pa softly. He couldn't go any higher. He climbed down careful, and fled under the bed before the mouse could see him. Mouse in the house, shouted everyone together. That woke the baby up. She sat up on her mat, rubbing her eyes sleepily. That was on her. What was that on her pillow? It had 2 eyes, 4 feet, and a long tail. Mouse! Cried baby, clapping happily. Baby looked at the mouse, and the mouse fled, with the baby right behind him. Leaping up on the sofa, climbing the window, jumping on the table, tumbling over the cushions, running between the curtains, scurrying over the plates, and out of the door.
And that's it. Okay. So I'll have you get started on that then. And we'll go over it when you're done.
Okay, what?
What did the characters learn at the end of the story? What did you notice the characters did?
Yelled.
They yelled. They were kind of like, Ma had the broom, Grandma had the
Trying to kill the mouse.
Yeah, they were all like working together, right? Okay. So, number 1, who were the characters in the story?
A family and a mouse.
Yes. Check. Yes. Or put a big star on there or something. Yes. What were the characters in the story doing?
Looking for a mouse together.
Yes. They were trying to get that mouse out of the house. So what challenges did characters face in the story?
Trying to catch the mouse.
Yes, that was a big challenge. Nobody could catch that mouse, could they? What did the characters learn at the end of the story?
They all work together.
Yes, working together, yeah. Okay, and then what is the theme, the overall message?
Working together makes work easier.
Absolutely, you got it. Okay, so, I was going to do, well, and it's just 2 of us too, but what I was going to have us do was just toss a ball back and forth and figure out one thing that we learned, one thing that we had questions on, but instead I'll just have you answer one or the other. You can either answer what is one thing that you still have questions on about today's lesson, or what is something that you learned from today's lesson.
Something I learned.
Okay, what is something that you learned from today's lesson?
What a theme was.
You learned what a theme was. And so if you go to your teacher tomorrow and you say, Mrs. Teese, I know what a theme is. And she says, well, tell me, what is it, Addison? What are you going to say?
A theme is the main thing that they did in this, you learned out of the story.
The overall message. What is the overall message that we learned from the story? So, awesome. Well, good. I'm glad you learned that today.